yeah, this is kind of what started it all.
Peggy Xu is a TikTok creator who's garnered millions of views sharing videos about, get this, milk.
Alrighty, we can go ahead and commence.
Becoming a milk influencer, or a dairy queen, came sort of by accident.
I posted one video in 2023 about my favorite milk. I think I titled it Best Milk Ever. I don't know if y'all have heard of the best milk ever, but it is the Strauss organic whole milk with the cream top. I don't know if you can see this. If you look in the top, it's just straight cream. It went viral. I was like, okay, keep rolling with it. Nope.
Xu has gained tens of thousands of followers, tasting and reviewing dairy products on TikTok. She's been able to monetize her videos and sign deals with brands.
In total, from 2024, I've made like 5 figures off of TikTok.
Strauss Family Creamery, featured in Xu's first Milk Talk TikTok video, and many more since, has benefited too. The company has been selling organic dairy products, including their unique cream top milk, for 3 decades.
Now, since Milk Talk took off in September, Strauss Family Creamery says they have seen milk sales rise by up to 20%. This has long been a local brand known in Northern California, but they say they are now gaining traction outside this region and even outside the United States.
In 2024, when we started TikTok, we had 34 users, 34 followers. They were all Strauss employees. By the time we finished last year, after we went viral, we've had grown our base to 11,000 followers.
But the party may be about to end. Last year, citing national security concerns, the U.S. Congress passed a law giving TikTok's Chinese owner ByteDance the option to sell it to an American buyer or face a ban. With the company declining to sell, the ban was meant to kick in the day before the winner of the presidential election took office.
It's not a pleasant scenario, but that's the structure of the law that the Biden administration left, Donald Trump with.
As the ban deadline neared, users lamented the potential loss.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to Chick-fil-A. Can I take your order?
Yeah.
TikTok appealed to Trump, who vowed to save the platform, telling its 170 million American users it was fortunate that he was working with them on a solution. TikTok went offline for about a half a day, and then it was back. Some have called it a stunt that left Trump the winner, but not everyone agrees.
TikTok didn't choose the winner. They thanked their savior, which is exactly what you do when you're so desperate.
The team at Strauss Family Creamery hopes TikTok and Milk Talk will last.
It's not a community that we can bring over to Instagram. It doesn't translate to Facebook. I think it would be a real struggle for us to capture the storytelling of TikTok in a different social media channel.
It's 153 videos. Wow, I didn't realize I made that many videos.
Time flies when you're drinking milk.
I know.
As for Xu, she's trying to grow her community on other platforms.
You have to diversify because I think relying on just one platform is a little bit dangerous.
A lesson learned by many American TikTokers caught up in a political storm.
Nice.
In this lab, things are really jumping and grabbing and fetching. This is a place where robots are less robotic and more biologic, where the researchers are designing machines that might be better suited to work in the real world by asking the question,
why don't we take inspiration from nature and build something that's actually more lifelike? Something that actually feels like life and that moves like life. And just the fact that we can build systems like this, it's mind-boggling why we haven't worked on this more.
The mind boggles and the leg bounces. And that's why I've come to meet Pele. And yeah, he was named after those legendary footballing legs. This early prototype is unlike most robotic legs I think I've come across. See, most robot arms and legs move using motors in the elbows or the knees, but this actually takes a lot of power. The joint has to twist those long limbs from just one end. Pele, though, has muscles, one on either side, that pull the leg into the bent position and then pull it straight again. This takes a lot less energy. Just look at how hard a knee motor has to work and how hot it gets, compared to Pele's muscular motion on the right.
So here's how it works. You have little bags filled with oil and an electrode on either side. If those electrodes are pulled together, they squeeze all the oil into one part of the bag, and the whole bag then shortens. And you've got yourself a contracting muscle.
If you want to make it really bio-inspired, or would go a step further, biomimicry in some way, it needs to be muscles. Because most of it in nature is driven by muscles which are contracting, while there's almost nothing in nature that uses rotary motion. I think if you want to have something with the same amount of flexibility and motion degrees of freedom, you need to break away from this like one motor per joint paradigm and go towards, can we apply many muscles around a more flexible structure? Like if you look at our arm, the eccentric application of muscle force onto our extremities allows us to be quite flexible. I can move my whole hand around here without having to take rigid motors that do these motions, but instead I can use multiple muscles, multiple bones that allow us to do these complex motions.
This is a joint project between the Max Planck Institute and ETH Zurich, and as Thomas and Toshiko have discovered, Pele doesn't even need complex sensors to avoid obstacles or balance as it climbs over them. No, it just bumps into things and bounces over them. Now, there are other things one needs in life too. After a hard day of running around, Pele, like every footballer, is often in need of some kneading.
Why do you have to massage the muscles sometimes?
I guess there is something called charge retention, meaning we apply a quite hefty voltage to the actuators. And there is charges in the oil of the pouch and in the insulating film that kind of accumulate and then stick together, just like sometimes you have like a cling film sticking to something or because of electrostatics. The same thing kind of happens here. And so when we massage it, we kind of break this up again and give the muscle the full range of motion.
It sounds very much like why you have a massage in real life anyway.
Yeah.
Just to free it all up.
Yeah. It wasn't intended that we are so close to nature, but yes.
There you go. Everyone needs a massage.
Now, while Pele boings in the air like he just doesn't care, the rest of the robots around here are a little more gentle.
Most robots are made of hard materials, like metal, for example, and that's a problem if you're sending them out into the real world, because if they bang into something, they might damage it, they might damage themselves, they might damage you. That is why soft robotics makes sense, because you can send these things out into the wild, and if they smack into something, nobody gets hurt.
The world is made for soft, squishy, fleshy animals. For example, grabbing things is much easier if there's a bit of give on your gripper. Otherwise, you might well end up with egg on your face, your hand, the floor. But there is a problem. Prototype robot parts are usually 3D printed, and it turns out that 3D printing soft materials is, well, hard.
Now, this is how this type of 3D printing has worked up until now. Your printer deposits microscopic particles of your material down. But the problem is they're all uneven. It's not perfect at the top. And so before you put down the next layer, the printer has to flatten off the top of these particles. That means you can only use certain kinds of materials. You can't use materials that are so gooey that when you flatten them off, they get jammed up in the mechanism and clog everything up. And that means that we haven't been able to 3D print with materials that you want in soft robotics. Until now. Now we have a different technique. So now we can 3D print with really gooey materials. And instead of trying to flatten them off, a laser scans the top of each particle and works out whether you need to put down a smaller or a larger particle on top to even out the imperfections. And that means you can 3D print soft robotic hands.
This new method means that you can 3D print robots with a variety of soft and hard parts, bones, ligaments and tendons for example, all in one go. Don't like humans? More of a dog person? No problem. Here's a pup that's positively pneumatic.
You're blowing air in
Yes.
through the backside,
Yeah.
and then it makes different parts of the legs move.
For example, this inflates and it would move this leg forward. And then when I remove the air, then it would spring back to its original position.
And this is why it's important to have a material that springs back quite quickly to its original shape.
Yes.
And that's been the challenge up until now.
Yes.
These robots still need training to understand and navigate their environments and cope with the unpredictability of the real world. And these days, this training is done in a virtual world where thousands of hands can practice and make mistakes in a fraction of the time one real one could. Although even if they do get things wrong, hopefully it's only their pride that will get hurt.
And that's it from us for now. From me, from Pele, and from Skeletal. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
And there's more from the KCILCK team at